I'm just going to come out and say it again. Literally nothing matters more right now than answering whether Bitcoin is repeating the 2021 script or if the ETF, publicly traded company era, ISM, PMI, extended cycle bullshit shatters the 4-year cycle forever. Get this right and next year prints you massive money. Get it wrong and you are super effing wrecked unless you get out on the retest of the 50-week EMA. So today, what I want to show you are the uncanny similarities that the current cycle is having with the 2021 cycle, what that means in terms of potential 50-week simple moving average retest at around $100,000, and why we might get our answer to this broader 4-year versus new cycle question. First, I want to discuss the crazy similarities between 2021 and 2025. So we're going to bang through a bunch of these here, okay? Here is Bitcoin on the weekly, and I've got the last two halvings marked here for you with vertical lines on the chart. Nice and neat. First similarity, assuming $126,000 was the top of the cycle, both cycles put in 2 peaks, with the second in both slightly higher than the first, but not by very much. And the peak-to-peak measurements are pretty close to each other. The 2021 peak was 210 days with a 6% price increase. The 2025 measurement was 259 days with a 16% price increase. Second similarity, Bitcoin suffered significant corrections between both of these peaks. In 2021, Bitcoin dropped from the first peak's top to the bottom by 55% over 70 days. In 2025 was a 31% drop over 77 days. The similar timing here is very interesting, and the timing from these two bottoms to the second peak is somewhat close. In 2021, it was a 141% increase over 140 days, and in 2025, it was 68% over 182 days. Third similarity, the timing from each cycle's halving to the second peak. In 2021, it was 546 days. In 2025, 532 days. Fourth similarity, the 50-week simple moving average. During the major corrections of both cycles, Bitcoin touched the 50-week SMA, closed above it, and then went on to form the second higher peak. Similarly, when Bitcoin closed below its SMA in both cycles, it suffered a significant drop. In 2021, a 30% drop in 42 days. In 2025, a 21% drop in just 7 days. The percentage drops are similar here, but clearly the 2025 drop has been much more brutal in terms of the way it's played out due to the 1010 blow up and market makers unloading and ETF fear and AI valuation fears and Japan fears and all the rest of the bullshit. So these are the 4 similarities between 2021 and 2025, and I don't think it can be denied that the similarities here are interesting and perhaps a bit worrying and deserve discussion. However, the major differences between these two cycles are, of course, was all-time high for Bitcoin in 2024 before the cycle's halving, thanks to the ETFs, and the ETFs have completely changed the equation this cycle. That's never happened before, so we need to acknowledge it. Also, if we finish the year red this year, that's also never happened before in a 4-year cycle. It would kind of break things. US spot ETFs went live 2 months before the all-time high, by the way, and we can easily understand why Bitcoin did what it did. Thus, we have a clean explanation for this major difference between the two cycles. So those are the similarities and accounting for one big difference. And there's some other little variations you can find too, like none of the major signals hitting the peak, pi signal top indicator, all that stuff. Basically, we have 30 top indicators for on-chain and technicals, and basically none of them hit, but the weekly and monthly MACDs, for example, have shown us the way, if it is the end of the cycle. Hey, real quick though, before we get into the next part of the story, Bitcoin enthusiasts, get yourselves a damn wallet, okay? Black Friday deal on right now from Ledger. This is the Ledger Stacks, absolutely beautiful wallet right here. When you buy this, using the link down below, you get $80 in Bitcoin back. That's insane. This is the Ledger Flex right here. $70 Bitcoin back when you buy that using the link exclusive down below. This is an insane Black Friday deal. You also get 50% off all Ledger Nano X's. Absolutely wild deal. Look, people are always trying to take your crypto. You have to get yourselves a hardware wallet. There's really no excuse, especially with these insane Black Friday discounts going on. Take your security seriously. Lock your coins up, get a hardware wallet. The link's down below. Don't miss the opportunity. Okay, back to this. Look, projections from where we're going from here. I think this is important to talk about. So given we're thus far rhyming very heavily with the 2021 cycle, 4-year cycle theorists are basically all saying run for the exits. I'm expecting the short term that will continue to do so. That brings us to the potential 50-week SMA retest. So check this out. In 2021, when Bitcoin lost a 50-week SMA, it dropped 30%. But notice that prices held above the prior correction low between the two peaks. Also, look at the timing between the prior correction low after the 50-week SMA loss, 217 days. Then look at what Bitcoin did. It got a relief rally and climbed 40% back to the 50-week SMA over 56 days. So I think you can see where I'm going with this, measuring from the bottom of the prior 2025 correction low to our current bottom, 224 days. We've held above that prior low just like last cycle. Therefore, my working assumption is that we're currently in a period similar to the low that Bitcoin printed after it lost a 50-week SMA in 2021, meaning the expectation would be for Bitcoin to continue rhyming with that last cycle, at least in the short term, by rallying back up to the 50-week SMA for a kiss of death, and getting rejected there, and that would confirm the bear market, essentially. If we do that in terms of similar timing, then that would mean that we're back for a 50-week SMA retest at $100,000 right around or maybe just after the new year. Just to make it clear, one more time, given everything that we've seen today, the expectation is that Bitcoin probably holds above the prior 2025 correction low. We'll head back up for a 50-week SMA retest around $100,000. That is the big boss right now. See, assuming we get this retest, how Bitcoin deals with it might be a major indicator as to whether we're still in the 4-year cycle or whether we're in something new. Here's why. In 2021, Bitcoin failed to hold above this SMA when it went for the retest. It got rejected, it got the kiss of death, bear market was confirmed. Of course, Bitcoin fell significantly below the 200-week SMA after losing the 50-week. It was an absolute shit show if you're around in 2022. Great times were had by all, okay? Late 2022, FTX collapse came, that marked the bottom. Therefore, I think how Bitcoin deals with 50-week SMA this time around will give us the answer that we're looking for better or for worse. If we can get back above this moving average, get some closes above it with some renewed strength, then that sets the stage for a massive rally in 2026 and new all-time highs, thus confirming that we are indeed in a new cycle. However, if like last time, Bitcoin can only rally up to the 50-week, gets rejected at the 50-week, then it's probably a pretty good sign that we're still in the 4-year cycle and you need to prepare your butts for a longer bear market versus this very short bear trap, whatever you want to call it, is going on right now. A mini bear market below the 50-week EMA, whatever. We need to see Bitcoin get back above the 50-week. If we get rejected at the 50-week, we're probably going back to the 200-week SMA. Okay, and that's around $50,000. So that's the idea for today. I'm expecting Bitcoin to head back up to 100K for that 50-week SMA retest in the not so distant future. Look for that over the next few weeks. How we deal with it, that's where the magic sauce is. That's how we know what 2026 is going to look like, in my opinion. Rejection there, Goblin Town. Take it back out, Valhalla. There is no in between. Thanks for watching.